The trapdoor is looming. We give you a heads up on who's going down. You can't win the league without a good one. We turn the spotlight on the goalkeepers. The magic of the cup, the magic of the Whispers algorithm tells us how Wolves and Chelsea will line up days before Wolves and Chelsea line up. Welcome to Football Whispers, the show which uses state-of-the-art tech to add substance to rumour and give you the stats behind the simple game. We're looking at keepers and the cup this week, and to help us, we're joined by Dave Beasant, a goalkeeper who saved a penalty to allow Wimbledon to win the FA Cup, and Paul Walsh, who helped Liverpool to a League and Cup double before winning the Cup again with Spurs. Now, Chelsea may be streets ahead at the top of the league, but the battle to stay away from the bottom is proving much harder to call. Sam Allardyce's reputation as the relegation beater is in danger of taking a knock. Palace continue to founder, leaving Big Sam to look to his latest signings to help restore confidence.
Well, we've just got to keep working on the training ground, and the more work you do, the more belief you gain. I think that the new players have got a big part to play because they're not quite in the same position. They're coming into a struggling club, but they've come from elsewhere, so you know they could be a big influence on the players who are already here because they're coming in to play and getting amongst the players that they're working with, and hopefully they will make us better.
Sam's still struggling, but Paul Clement has done a lot better in his first few weeks at Swansea.
Oh, the first time I walked in to see the players was before the Crystal Palace game in the hotel. The team had been picked, and I just said to them, "Look, just show tonight that you're up for the fight. Show me that you've got character." And they showed it straight away, and have done every game since. Even the game that we got a heavy defeat here against Arsenal. Even in that game.
Well, let's have a look at the current position at the bottom of the table, with Hull, Palace and Sunderland currently in the ejector seats. We've applied the Football Whispers algorithm and see the order changing, with only one of the current bottom three beating the drop. According to our computer-based analysis, the Grim Reaper will come for Bournemouth, who we see taking the last relegation slot. So that means Hull complete a remarkable change in fortunes to stay alive, ahead of Leicester, who cling to safety, and just behind Borough, who we think will successfully stave off the dreaded drop. Dave, if you're a Palace fan, that looks pretty dire, doesn't it?
It's worrying. It's worrying, the fact that, the thought of getting the best man in to see you survive, it's not working at the moment. And, you just wonder where their next win's coming from, because they don't look confident. They've got free-flowing forwards that can score goals, but they've got a defence that's like a sieve, and they're leaking too many goals.
Sam says he's hoping the new signings will influence the guys that are already there. Is that a real hope?
Well, it's one that you've got to cling on to and try and believe in. I've been in a relegation battle and survived it on the last day of the season, and leading up to it, it's a nightmare. Every game you're going into, there's a lack of confidence. There's a downbeat scenario around the club in terms of the media. Everything associated to it's on a bit of on a low. And the manager's job is to try and keep your spirits up, trying to keep the confidence going and the belief going in some way that you can dig a result out and build off of that result to the next one, because suddenly the confidence changes very quickly. And then you can just get on a mini run, and that's all you need at the bottom of the table, is to get on a 2 or 3 game run, a bit like Swansea, and suddenly the confidence levels are up and you come flying up the table. And, I've been in a couple of those. It's not easy.
Sunderland have always been there or thereabouts when it comes to the relegation battle, but are you surprised to see Bournemouth in our predicted bottom three?
Yeah, that is a surprise. The way they want to play football, that's the only thing, is they've got the belief of a style of playing football, which is play out the back. You wonder whether they've got the ammunition that if they need to get the ball away from their area, whether they can get up front and hold it up, whether they're going to break their beliefs and say, well, to survive, we've got to play a little bit longer, get the ball into the opposition half, and then play our football when we get up there, because they are a tremendous footballing side. They've got some greatly gifted players in midfield and some good strikers. But as Paul just said, is when you get into that little rut of games where you're losing, you wonder what you've got to do to get the next 3 points.
I mean, Matt, I played in a very good footballing team at Luton, and when you play football and you play football low on confidence, it's very hard to play football well. And when you don't have a plan B, and I'm not sure that Bournemouth have, you know, you can't just suddenly, and I'm not sure they got a player that you can just hit it to the front to. And not only that, will he change his philosophy or will he stick to his philosophy? I think he'll stick to it. They have 4 or 5 games against teams all around them at the bottom of the table, and they have back-to-back three games on the spin where they play the top 6. And it's how they come out of them, I think, might dictate how big their slide continues, and that's maybe what the algorithm's taken into account.
Not since 1938, when you were a nipper, as the side won the league, Manchester City, and gone down. Leicester, we reckon, are just about going to avoid that. How have they gone wrong this season?
It's a story which, you know, last season everyone was willing them to do it because you know, the financial resources they had, the size of their club, where they come from. But there was always, even last season, you're saying, you know, are they a team that can win the title this year and get relegated next season? And I think that the way they're going, they can do. You know, that's the surprise one that Leicester are not down there. And, you know, they're playing with no confidence. They're playing, they lack design. You question, you know, they've all been given their new contracts last season. Yeah. And sometimes when you're, you know, you're fighting for a one-off season, you're fighting off, you know, those Leicester players probably will never win the title again. And to do that once in your life, and it was there for them, the fight was there. Suddenly this season, they've got their new contracts. They could probably go to other clubs as individuals. And it just doesn't seem like that fight, the desire, the willing to run that extra yard, to get in the faces, to chase balls over the top. It just doesn't seem there. And they're not as organised defensively as they were last season.
Well, Bob Wilson, who won the double as the wearer of the green shirt with Arsenal in 1971, insists that all keepers are mad. I wouldn't want to argue, although Dave's a little bit bigger than me, but there's little doubt that the keeper's role is all important, whether he sticks to saving it or kicking it about to keep Guardiola happy. Jose Mourinho is typically direct about David De Gea's value.
Very important. That's why he has the contract he has. He gets the money he gets. And it's very important for us.
And even the best of them can have bad days. Petr Cech dropped a massive clanger against Chelsea, but Arsene Wenger still has faith.
It's difficult to come out individually on a player. I believe that Petr Cech is a guy who prepares well, who is serious and wants to do well. He was at fault on the third goal, but overall I believe that he had a good season.
Well, we've applied the Football Whispers technology to the Premier League number ones and come up with the definitive top 6 goalkeepers. Places 6 and 5 go to Burnley's Tom Heaton and Ben Foster of West Brom. The order is based on factors like clean sheets, goals conceded and saves per goal, which gives us an index out of 10. Third and fourth, according to those criteria, are Cech and De Gea. We've also factored in stats like the number of catches, punches and accuracy of distribution, which is how we've come up with Hugo Lloris of Tottenham in second place and make Chelsea's Thibaut Courtois the best keeper in the Premier League. And it's no coincidence that his team topped that league. Do you have any issue with that top 6?
Not really. I mean, the surprise you probably would say is Tom Heaton being in there, but you know, his performances this season warrant the fact he's in. You know, those stats, they are the top goalkeepers in relation to position in the league, apart from Tom Heaton and I suppose Fraser Forster. But you know, they're all goalkeepers that are very good, and you've seen how important they are to their teams making vital saves.
You're the goalkeeping coach at Reading. Would you ever take stats like that and present them to your keepers and say this is what you need to be brushing up on?
I think you look at it visually first and foremost. You know, you can, as a goalkeeping coach, you can tell what they're doing. You know, I think a major part, we've just had a little tete-a-tete about it, is goalkeepers catching shots. You know, I think the contrast is catching crosses, because so many times nowadays you see goalkeepers come in and they've made their mind up to punch, and there's not a player around them. And obviously, when you're punching the ball, you're not in control of the ball, and you know, relieving the pressure for your defence, and you know, the defence looking and saying, I know that ball's in the air, my goalkeeper's going to come and catch it. which is not the norm nowadays.
So Courtois finishes top, but is that part of it? The fact that he knows his defence is good, they're the best defence in the league, so that makes his job easier.
Yeah, it certainly helps. I mean, I think Man United have got a very good defensive record in terms of goals conceded, and so have Tottenham. So it alludes to the fact that they're quite well protected, and I'm not sure how that comes into the algorithm as such in terms of judging what they do, because it's crosses, shots saved, and things like that. But my top six would have been. I'm not surprised Lloris is up there, but you could have gone back to Man City the other week where he spills two. But it's over a season we're talking about. Not, everyone makes mistakes, but in such a highly critical world that we're in, everyone highlights the mistakes and magnifies them. But without a doubt, Lloris would be in my up the top of it. I'm not surprised De Gea maybe is not more in the top two maybe, but it's very close between all of them goalkeepers, them top four anyway.
We can take a look at the most likely targets for the Premier League amongst the keepers available in Europe. If you look at them clockwise, Alban Lafont from Toulouse apparently is the man most likely to. Yeah,
I mean, he's highly regarded. Seen a few Premier Division sides interested in him at the moment. I think because of their age at the moment, I think that if we look at the Premier Division, Jordan Pickford is probably going against the norm. He's a young lad that's come into it, whereas at the top, very top of the league at the moment, we've got experienced goalkeepers, and we've seen goalkeepers that come over that have got a great reputation abroad that have struggled, and we've seen that at Manchester City.
Yeah, but De Gea as well.
Yeah,
you remember when he came to Manchester United, they had to be patient with him. Everyone was very critical of him early on. They stuck with him. He bulked up a bit, and now look at him.
Yeah, he's come on all right, and that contract, according to Mourinho, is pretty tasty. Now, we've been running a Twitter poll to find out who you think is the greatest goalkeeper in Premier League history. We took the 16 who we considered to be the leading contenders and placed them into 4 groups of 4. In the first group, Manchester United legend Peter Schmeichel was the outstanding choice, as you voted for him over Shay Given, Hugo Lloris and Jens Lehmann. In the second group, Edwin van der Sar came out on top, beating David James, Pepe Reina and Thibaut Courtois. United keepers dominated once again in the third group, as current number 1 David De Gea led the way. In the final group, over 75% of you voted for Petr Cech, thanks to his performances for Chelsea and now Arsenal. Well, we then took those 4 winners and asked you to vote for your favourite once again, and it was Peter Schmeichel who was the outstanding choice and crowned your all-time Premier League best goalkeeper. Any debate to be had about Schmeichel being the best ever Premier League keeper?
I don't think so at the present time. The fact of his longevity, what he achieved with Manchester United, we could see that change, with the modern keeper. I mean, Courtois could be longer at Chelsea and achieve greater things. But I think overall, at this present time, no grumbles at all with Schmeichel being the top keeper.
Funny, you look at those two, the current number 1, Courtois, and the all-time great, according to us, Schmeichel. They're different keepers, because Schmeichel, I imagine, would let you know where you were at all times. And if you weren't in the right place, he'd let you know again.
Yeah, I mean, he was very dominant, very vocal, had a certain style to everything he did. Played in a fantastic team and had great success. So you put all that in the melting pot and you can quite understand why he's come out on top. But it's like Dave's saying, Courtois is only young. So he's got a long, long way to go. So we might be revising it in time. But at this moment, that doesn't surprise me. Petr Cech as well, over longevity as well, has had a fantastic career as well. And I'm not surprised to see him right in there.
Schmeichel will be a candidate in question, but we often see when a goal goes in, the keeper rounding on his defenders. Is that just a natural reaction, or can he actually honestly blame them?
Well, Schmeichel blamed anyway. As soon as if he had a shot and he had to save it, he blamed someone. Someone wasn't doing their job. I think it's becoming a modern day trend, because you see it down all the divisions, and I think sometimes it's a deflection from their own maybe inadequacy, but. You're normally disappointed if as a result of there's normally one thing that's not right when someone puts the ball in the back of the net, and goalkeepers tend to look upon that one thing that.
I find it really irritating when a goalkeeper makes a save and then starts berating everyone around him. You know, is that because he's on a high because he's made a save and it's his way of scoring a goal almost? But they all tend to jump up and start pointing fingers and having a go at people, and I don't really get that.
Well, it's FA Cup fifth round weekend with an upset or two still very much on the cards. If Wolves beat Chelsea, it will surely rank as one of the biggest surprises, although the Championship side upset the odds in the third round by beating Liverpool. Never mind odds, we've applied the Football Whispers predictive technology and come up with the lineups we reckon you can expect to see lining up on Saturday. Just in terms of upset potential, you're not going to bet against Chelsea, surely?
I don't think you would this time. I think that Chelsea, no matter what team they put out at the moment, they've got a stronger squad than Liverpool in players that come off the bench and the team they put out. So I wouldn't see so, but you never know in the FA Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I had Zuma, Ake, Chalaboa, a lot of players that don't play regularly came in for the last cup tie. Will he mix it up as much this time? For Wolves' point of view, they need probably a few more points to make sure they're definitely away from the relegation zone. They can't get in the playoffs, so they might as well go for the FA Cup. So I don't expect Wolves to make too many changes, but Chelsea to make quite a few, but it will still be strong.
Well, you should know about a bit about Wolves. I mean, you've done your research on them in league terms. Do you reckon they've got a chance?
They've got some very good players. Costa for the Championship, big money signing. Probably can warrant that tag because he's an exciting player. He's very creative, coming in from the wide, and also can score goals. But yeah, they're a good team. But like we say, I just think that with the squad that Chelsea have got, even the ones that don't play regular, they've got a squad that's probably too strong for it.
Put your crystal ball into action there. Now West Ham are out of it. It's open, surely.
Yeah, I mean, it depends at what point the top sides, i.e. Chelsea, start playing a full-strength team rather than playing, say, the number 2 goalkeeper and lesser players that certain teams have done, or giving the wider squad players an outing. Because at the end of the day, that's why the FA Cup's sort of lost its sparkle a little bit because of that, but certainly in the early stages. But when you get round to this stage of the competition, you want to see the best players playing in it.
Well, you not only won the Cup, you performed the action that won it for Wimbledon. What memories, I mean, it must be uppermost in your thoughts when it comes to things you've done.
It's a game, it's an event that happened that people still say to me today. That's what they talk about, that's what they remember you for. It's great to be remembered for one thing, but I did have quite a long career, but the pinnacle, all the plaudits that went with the penalty save being the first one and the first goalkeeper captain. At the end of the day, I just wanted to lift that trophy and us to win, and that was the main thing, was the winning on the day.
I was there. It was a great day. I was only 15, but thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, the next window may be months away, but that hasn't stopped the transfer gossip spreading far and wide. Here's James Lorenzo with a roundup of the top 10 football whispers.
Thanks, Matt. Now, in this roundup last week, I featured the potential move of Moussa Dembele to Chelsea, but in the time since, Arsenal have joined the race. Dembele to the Gunners is a deal that sits at the very top of our top 10, currently sitting on a 3.7. Chelsea's interest, meanwhile, has fallen back to a 2.5, but I'd expect those scores to keep on swapping places until the summer, when the two clubs could be in for an almighty shootout for the French striker's services. David De Gea has been linked with Real Madrid on and off for what feels like most of his Manchester United career, and the deal has hit third with an index of 3.5 in recent days. Any deal for De Gea would surely have to be a huge one if it were to happen this summer, especially because he is under contract at United until 2019. Another potentially massive transfer involving Manchester United would be that of Antoine Griezmann. We picked up on this last week, and it's still charting in the lower half of our top 10. I'd expect that to continue rumbling on for a good while yet. Also there in the bottom half is Brazilian fullback Fabinho, who has also been linked with United as well as Barcelona, but we actually think he is most likely to join Arsenal if the latest whispers are to be believed. My deal of the day today concerns Portuguese striker Andre Silva, who has been linked with both Manchester clubs recently. We have United down as the most likely destination for the 21-year-old, who only signed a new contract in August, which reportedly contains a release clause of 60 million euros. It remains to be seen whether either City or United will stump up that kind of money for the striker. That's all from me, so let's head back to the studio.
Thank you, James. Moussa Dembele, one of 17 Dembeles in contention at the moment. If he moves from Celtic, that will represent an increase in value of £39.5 million, we reckon.
It's an unbelievable tag to have on him after, as you say, from 500,000 to 40 million. And you know he's done well at Fulham, scored a few goals, was more or less out of contract when he moved up to Celtic. There wasn't many Premier Division teams chomping at the bit to sign him, but he's gone up there and had a great season. He scored numerous goals. It's still an ask, the fact that he could come down, and if he's where he's got to go, he's got to be the Premier Division at that price. If he can do it in the Premier Division, so it's still a bit of an unknown quantity for me.
That's a £39.5 million millstone, isn't
Yeah, and also, where I have to be careful, I think, is it's very, very difficult to judge players when you see them on one or two occasions. I've done it with several players, and he's one that I've seen on one or two occasions and wasn't convinced. And he's gone to Scotland and done well, but Scotland's not the Premier League, nothing like it. So coming back the other way for a lot of money with a lot of pressure on you is going to make his life a lot harder, even though he'll have plenty of money to go with it. I've done it with players like Demarai Gray, playing in the Championship, wasn't convinced, didn't do enough. And I look at him now and I'm thinking, you're doing well. And so you've got to be patient with people, see the potential in them. But in the Premier League, there ain't much patience about when you're a striker.
Paul, thanks very much. Dave, good to see you. Give our regards to everybody else at the care home, and good luck with Reading getting into the top flight. That's about it for now, other than a reminder that we want to hear from you. Ask us the questions you want to ask. Tell us about some of the deals you know are in the offing. Generally, just keep in touch. Use Facebook or Twitter to do it, and we'll put your thoughts out there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.